So this bike has been in my rack for almost 5 months. I got a flat in September last year, right before my busy season at work. And I decided I was going to make some steel tire armor plates so that I wouldn't be able to get a flat anymore. Then I was real busy at work and then busy moving and busy putting the shop together. And I was just getting around to installing the tire with the prototype steel tire plates in it, which is here. There's the prototype plates. I made 26 plates and I put them in there. They're pretty easy going in. And then here's some more plates, because when I made the plates and I put them in, I didn't have enough, so I had to make some more. Had to make those because my local welding supply was out of argon. So I'm going to put these plates in there now and see how they work. I have a terrible feeling that the Kinetic wheel balance is going to be a disaster. But like I said, I did make an effort to make all of the plates weigh the same, which happens to be 116 grams. So I'm going to put these plates in there and see what it does to Kinetic wheel balance. In order to protect the tube from the plate armor, I took an old smoothed down V Snowshoe 2XL tire, which is the same tire that's in here. And I guess I'll pull it apart. An old smoothed down tire, with all the knobbies smoothed off, covering the tire plate armor, hoping that that will protect the tube. And then the tube will have stands in it. So here is this wheel tire that has the plate armor mounted in it, mounted on the bike. I'm just charging the battery for a little test ride here. You see the way I designed to do the washers is just take some old rubber tube and just put it out there so that I would have plenty of area to protect the bolt from abusing the tire. And you see, I've had so many flats. You see in the background here, I have a tote of flats, along with other things like soldering and sanding, safety. I have a tote for flats, so that tells you how desperate I was to fix the flat tire problem. So I'm going to put this in the rack and demonstrate the acceptable, what I have said is near perfect, Kinetic wheel balance. So let's see how this tire does with wheel balance when it's in the rack. The bike is in the rack, and I have the bike in the high speed, has a 3-speed switch, has low, medium, and high. I have it in high. This was meant to be a demonstration of the Kinetic wheel balance. And now I can see I can do that while I'm holding the phone. So let me just unrestrict this and just set the, let me just set the current just crazy high just for fun. It was set at 45 amps max. This is a 72 volt system. Let's just go crazy here with the current. Set it to 100. That ought to fish out any problems. So now the max current is set to 100 amps. And it's in high. So that would also be testing the battery. So as you can see, it's on the rack. It's in high speed. And here is us looking at the wheel balance. See the bike's moving around a little on the rack. Kind of scary. Hope it doesn't get low. Now it's up all the way. The bike thinks it's going 67 miles an hour. It's not. So look, it's only using 350 watts. It thinks it's going 66.6 miles per hour. So here's the wheel balance with this high speed. I'm having to hold the throttle while I'm doing this and get the wheel balance to get the angles. So holding the throttle here. And here's the regen. A lot of regen with this heavy wheel. Not that much regen. So the bike thinks it went 1.64 miles. So now another thing to look at might be an emergency stop on the rack. So let me try that. Get it going all the way. I won't be able to touch the regen button. This is an emergency stop. Let's get it going all the way to 66 miles per hour. And I can only reach the right brake. So let's put on the right brake. There's an emergency stop. Oh! So there's your stop. All right, now I'm going to take the bike for a ride. Here's another view of what I would consider funny looking. You've got the tire with low profile bolts being seen on the outside of the tire. The bolts obviously mounting the tire plates, so something you don't see every day. I just went and checked the tire pressure. I set the front and rear both to 20 psi. So I'll reset the statistics for the bike ride. I ride this bike in speed 2 and I limit my current to 43 amps or thereabouts. That's how I do it. It's just how I ride. I guess to make for maybe an interesting video, I could limit the current to say 70. See what happens. So now the max current is 70. Max current is 70 and almost a fully charged battery. Anyway, I reset the stats. So I have a helmet cam. I'll show, hopefully how smoothly it rides. I think one of the most interesting things here might be the motor temp. Currently the motor temp is 18.6. It's going to heat up. Look at the plates here, see how they're holding up. Looks like the bolts are getting plenty trashed. The bolts are getting all messed up. Here's a bolt that might be coming loose. Okay, so we see the outside of the bolts is getting scuffed up. I don't know if those bolts will be able to be reused. This road, we could look at the stats so far. I'm going to get on a road here that's kind of long and straight. See what we got for stats here. Okay, so if you can see the screen, in 1 mile, my battery so hopefully you can see the display screen. In 1 mile, the motor heated up to, gonna wait for it here, 46.2, so the motor's heating up. And let's see what we got here. Anything interesting? Watt hours per mile, 96. That's anything but efficient. Percent regen, 3.7. That's kind of high. Max current, 68.9. Max speed was 33. So now I'm going to go on this long straightaway, and I just reset the statistics as I have a habit of doing. So let's go on this long straightaway and see how it does with the wheel balance. emergency stop. Let's try another emergency stop. Very quickly. Here's an emergency stop at slow speed. Yep. So we could look at the stats here. It heated up to 81.4 degrees Celsius in 1.8 miles. I used 2.22 amp hours of the battery. What else is interesting in here? 86.1 watt hours per mile, not efficient. Percent regen 4.2, that's a lot. That's a lot of regen to get back. Max current 67.7. Okay, whatever. I should have written it in. I'm going to go out and put it into speed 3, see how we do. High speed. That was only a 4 minutes of riding. Max speed 36.3 miles per hour. Average speed 27.6. So I'm going to reset the statistics. Resetting the statistics. And I'll put it in high. And hopefully that doesn't damage my battery. Definitely stops plenty quickly. High speed. The motor temperature is 103 degrees Celsius. So that's really hot. Motor temp's now 102. I went 1 mile. And in that mile I consumed 1.66 amp hours of the battery. 1 mile was 110 watt hours per mile. 3.1% regen. The max current was 70.2 amps. The average speed was 29.3 and the max speed was 44. reset this. I had done really well when I had my tire pressure set to 19 psi, but when I raised it up to 20 psi, I have some terrible damage to the tire from the plates. Let me find that. My bike wants to fall over. Terrible damage. Prepare to be shocked. Right there. Look at that wound. That's a tire plate under there. It either cut. What am I trying to show you here? Okay, right there. Right in the middle of the screen. It like cut the tire carcass. You could assume that the tire plate cut the tire carcass. So it looks like the tire carcass needs some protection from the plates. And there's worse examples of that. Look at this. That's not going to work, is it? It looks like when I was riding the bike at that high tire pressure, it looks like the tire plates violated the tire carcass. So that's just not going to work at all. So I don't know if I'd want to run at a lower pressure, or I think the solution to that would be to definitely put something in between the tire plates and the tire carcass so that doesn't happen. See that example there? That's not going to be pretty at high speed. I think there's another example. And again, this was only like a 2-mile ride. The bike did fine when I had a ride all around town at lower tire pressure. There's another example where it looks like the tire plate cut the carcass. So that's a mechanical failure. Right here. Let's see if there's more examples of that. This may be the example I showed before. Anyway, that's definitely something that needs to be rectified. Got to protect the tire carcass from the plates. The plates are just carving up that tire carcass like a pig. So here I have the bike on the rack after that test ride, at the end of which I found that the tire plates were cutting the tire carcass. I wanted to check the wheel balance after I rode the bike for a bit, which would heat up the tires, and also after I reduced the tire pressure, because when I saw that those plates cutting into the tire carcass, my reaction was to reduce the tire pressure. So let's see how we're doing with the wheel balance at this point. Okay, so I have the bike in speed 2. It says, well, I went 41 miles an hour. Let me put the bike in high and really crank her up. There it is from different angles. It says it's going 63 miles an hour. All right, let's see it from this angle. Check that wheel balance. I'm also going to demonstrate an emergency stop. I'm going to get it going all the way as fast as I can get it to go, and then I'm going to slam on the brakes. do that again. Looked like it stopped efficiently. I'm going to see how much regen I can get. 1.1 kilowatts of regen. So I think if I put a layer between the tire plates and the tire carcass, I can avoid where does that damage. Could have been, a lot of people would have been discouraged by that. I am not discouraged. I'm just going to figure it out. Obviously figured out by putting a layer in there. And that only happened when I increased the tire pressure to 20 psi. So obviously these plates aren't doing the tire carcass any good. I'm going to get a close-up of that, because that damage seems to be the most interesting part of this video, I think. Some pretty serious carnage. One wonders how that would fail. Maybe a catastrophic mechanical failure, maybe a serious injury or fatality. Something to think about. I would rather have the tire carcass remain intact. Oh, where else did that happen? I had thought about coating the tire plates in, like, maybe powder coating or plasti dip. Oh, it's only that. It's only in those 2 places. I thought it was in 3 places. I filmed it in 3 places before. Where is the damage? Here's some damage. I'll put it in the middle of the screen. Right there. Some abuse from tire plates cutting into the rubber. Tire plates cutting like a knife. So that's not the best thing. You don't want to put something in your tire that's going to cut it up. So it looks like it's in those 3 places. Looks like I should have just kept the tire pressure down.